Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. Making sure you get your ticket for the next event. Catch your second win. That's right. Catch your second win. You do not want to miss this. This is going to be the event of the year. See you at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. We have a guest speaker, Joan Wrightgood, a coach, a mentor, an entrepreneur. You want to meet her, as well as the awesome Apostle Sheila O'Brien. She's going to help you renew your mind. And we have one of the most powerful intercessor, Mary Lewis. Come out, you guys. You do not want to miss it. Again, we're going to be at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. Can't wait to see you. Remember, in everything you do, always be true to you. Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. I want to say thank you for being here tonight to Doing Life with Angela Page as we do the Be True to You Talk Show. That's right. We're here with the Be True to You Talk Show. Please go ahead and like, share. Did I say like and share? And make sure you guys are commenting as we go through this show. I know you see me with my pink on, and that's because why? Because we are standing in support of breast cancer awareness. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I have on my pink. Not only do I have on my pink, you guys, I have scheduled my yearly exam for my mammogram, and I hope you guys are doing the same thing too. Did you know that women of color are the highest rate of breast cancer? Not only that, we're the ones that's causing not causing but passing early, dying early, because we're the ones that wait too late to go and be examined. So make sure you go and get your mammogram. And not only that, start exercising, because did you know when you exercise, it minimizes your risk of getting breast cancer. And if you have a baby, they say if you breastfeed, that too can cut down the risk of you having breast cancer. And some of you guys may have a problem with this. I don't. I only drink Pepsi, but I need to stop drinking that. If you limit the intake of alcohol, that too can cut down your risk of breast cancer. So now you know what to do. Make sure you do it. Make sure you get exam. Make sure you exercise. They always say a body in motion stays in motion. So we want to take care of ourselves, because I need you and you need me. So we don't want anything taking us out before our time. So please take it serious. Go get exam. Make sure you do what need to do, not need to be done. Examine yourself, whether you examine yourself in your shower, laying down in the bed, or even you can have your mate examine you. If you're scared to do it, make sure it's done. Okay. So with that being said, we have a special guest tonight. I love this young lady. Her name is Letitia Rivers, and I'm going to bring her on and let her tell you about herself. And we're going to dive into this conversation. Hey, Miss Letitia.
Hello. Thank you for the invite, Angela.
Thank you so very much for coming. You could have said no, but you said yes, and I greatly appreciate it. And before we dive in, it, please do me a favor, introduce yourself to the people and share whatever you like to share with them at this point.
Oh yes, I'll take any moment to share my story and to talk. You know, when you've been muted for so long in your life, and then the Lord literally releases your voice and not being afraid, it's so easy. It's easy for you to share your testimony. It's easy to show people or exude the blessings on your life when the Lord literally has called you to do something mighty. So I'm excited about being here. I'm excited about being the chosen one. I am excited about sharing my testimony and having a girls' conversation. My name
Yeah.
is Letitia Rivers, you guys, and I am an author. I am a coach of purpose. I am a woman who is filled with purpose. And I literally had to find that purpose after a traumatic divorce. You guys can find me on my social media handles, Facebook, Instagram at I am Letitia Rivers, and or Facebook, Letitia Rivers. And I am super excited to be in here tonight. And one thing that I must say about myself is that I am known for not giving myself the entire accolades of who I am and what I'm capable of and what I'm attached to. However, I enjoy uplifting people. So along the way, I'll give you guys some more about Letitia Rivers.
Well, Letitia, I was thinking, wow, she is so confident in who she is, because so often when you ask people to tell you about themselves, they don't state that they have greatness in them, and you from the start know that greatness is in you. So I like the boldness in you, because we need that as women to be able to stand up in who God has called us to be. I find that so often we give so many accolades or honor to other people, but we can't do it to ourselves. So kudos to you for being able to say who you are and the understanding that there is greater within you.
Oh, but of course, I say this that if you guys see on my social media page, I would say greatness is she. I speak it into existence. I expect it after going through such a traumatic divorce and identity crisis. I expect greatness. I mean, that's at the beginning of time. The Lord says we inherited greatness. And so I am going to truly live in it. I'm going to truly live in it.
It's amazing that greatness is your I'm going to say model or your platform, to the point, because years ago, I think it was like in 2008, God gave me an affirmation for myself, and it's always greatness created me, greatness is in me, greatness is for me, and great I will be. And I
Yes,
say
yes.
that all the time, because sometimes the enemy wants you to think that you're nothing, whether it be the mistakes you've been in life, or mother was just, for whatever. He don't want you to see the value that God placed in you. And so I was going through something major, and God literally gave me that, sitting on the couch, looking into the in the air. And it just came to me. It was like, greatness created me, greatness is in me, greatness is for me, great I will be. And so, whenever I'm going through my moments, I always quote that greatness created you. Because you think about it, greatness created me. Not only did he create me, he's in me. And
Come
if
on.
he's in me, okay, and
Yes,
so he
yes.
gave me that. And so that is to hold on to the greatness, that itself, that one word is so powerful, and it can speak in so many dimensions. So keep running with that. So I think that's just awesome. Now I heard you say that your voice was muted. I heard you say twice that you went through a traumatic divorce. What made you feel like your voice was muted?
It's nothing that made me feel like my voice was muted. It was muted.
Okay.
Okay. I think about my childhood coming up, that I've always been a kid. And I say this to folk, even on my platform, that there's a level of shyness in me. And I think about my younger years when I used to be embarrassed to talk, embarrassed to eat in front of people. And I truly give that to a self identity crisis, right?
Mhm.
When you're not confident in yourself to speak or even eat. Who's afraid to eat in front of people? Who's afraid to eat in front of people? I would literally starve myself until folk walked away, and then I'm ready to eat. I would be hungry and someone asks me, "Do you want to eat?" And I'm like, "No." However, I am truly hungry, but wait until they leave to eat.
Was it because you was called fat when you was growing up, or did you grow up in a household like mine, that when we went places, my mom was like, "Don't ask for anything. You better not beg. I don't care if they offer you something. You better say no." And not only did she tell us that, my grandmother, when we would go home in the summer, she was like, "I don't care who offer you something. You say no, thank you." So
Yes,
did it
yes.
thin from that?
Well, and I would want to say this: every culture, Black culture, our parents would tell us, you don't go to folk house when they offer you something. You don't take it. I
That's right.
don't
You say
want
no
them to
first.
think that we're not feeding you. That's that
Correct.
thing that was deposited in us
Mm-hmm.
because of what our parents grew up
Mm-hmm.
with. and they
Mm-hmm.
took it down from generation to generation. And
Mm-hmm.
so we thought that that was the thing to do, when it's okay to accept. That's that thing that keeps us from living a life full of purpose and greatness, right? Why? Don't, this is the perception people will think of you. However, no, it wasn't the fact of the matter that I was a heavy girl. I was never a heavy girl. I was more of a muscle bound built than anything, that people literally joke me on, that people now today are working to get. So I
Yeah,
look at a,
you even
huh?
right now, you have an athletic body, like you ran track or you did gymnastics. So that is just natural, huh?
It's just natural. And I was never an overweight young lady or child. It was just something in me that I did not feel comfortable, confident enough. Could it have been secure from childhood, growing up, that I didn't feel confident enough to speak in front of people?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's what it was. It was that thing that we grow up with in our black families, of not able to share your emotions and your thoughts, and
Mm-hmm.
how you feel, to expressing yourself. So it holds you back. It holds you bound to what it is that the Lord has for you.
Yeah, we was told, children are supposed to be seen and not heard.
Yes,
And
yes.
we was told so often, do what I say, not what I do, or because I said so. And so those are some things that had hindered us for having a voice. And even in the midst of us growing up, it's still a battle with some of us to be able to speak in our fullness of who God has created us to be, because
Yes.
we have those generation curses that have been handed down, all those
Jesus.
worldviews that were taught to us, and we felt like we had to run with it. But to God be the glory that because we come into Christ, we know we're a new creature, right? And
Yes,
so when I
yes.
say we're a new creature, that means we think different, we see things different, we
Come on.
process things different, and that's what
Yes.
it is about being a new creature. We believe different, we walk different, and force our mindset. So
You know what
I'm
I
glad.
want to do, Angela? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, no,
I
no
want
problem.
this moment to be about girlfriend, because I can easily go into that ministry mode. However, I want it to be a relaxed night, and let's talk about the journey in
Yeah,
which.
yeah, I'm not churchy. I tell people all the time, don't come on here preaching now. You go
I
here to
know,
preach, I'm
right?
gonna have to hook you up. But in anything we do, we always gonna sprinkle Christ on it, right? Because that's
I'm
who
on.
we are.
I'm on.
And we can't help but to be him, be a part of him, allow him to show in us. So with that being said, you said twice that you went through a dramatic
Ooh,
divorce. You didn't just say divorce, you said dramatic,
God.
traumatic,
I think I
traumatic.
said traumatic.
Traumatic, not dramatic, traumatic. And you said traumatic twice. So that means that stunned you. That that did something to your what,
Mm.
self-esteem, your emotion, your confidence. So tell us about that.
Oh man, listen, let me tell you something. And I wanted to make sure that it was a traumatic divorce. It was, when I tell you, it was literally traumatic. It was traumatic for me. However, I give you guys an experience of what it looked like. You're talking about a 17-year-old young girl that's dating or married to a man, and married to a man 10 years her senior.
So you got married when you was 17,
I got married when I was about 20, 21.
but you started dating him at the age of 17.
17 years old. We dated and we were together from 17 until I
So
was an adult
he was
woman.
17 and you was 27.
And he was 27. Yes,
He was
ma'am. Right on
27.
it.
Would you recommend that for a young person today?
Not 17 years old, I wouldn't. I
Okay.
wouldn't recommend that on a 17. I think I would kick, scream, and holler if my daughter did something in that nature. However, you would think that I was a promiscuous young girl. I wasn't. I wasn't. What is she doing with a 27-year-old man? No, I wasn't.
Mhm.
Right. I was actually a young 17-year-old, still in high school, very timid, very young, just trying to live life. I remember the moment when we first met. I was walking off. I worked at McDonald's, and each evening I would walk to work, And every evening, I listen, he literally prayed, but that's a good thing, though. I don't want to make him look bad because he's not bad. However, he would know when I would walk to work and the times, and he would ride alongside me. And each evening, I would say, no, no, no. He was like, "Can I give you a ride?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay. I can walk. I can walk." To this one day, I finally gave in, and that was the change of my life. I fast forward to both my children are from my ex husband.
Okay.
After growing and maturing and finding out who I truly am, right, I realized that this man isn't really who God has ordained me to be with. We had a total complete difference in family, ethnics. We had the dynamics of family. We had total different views of where my life, where I was looking to go versus to where he was looking for I to go.
So
Right.
would you say he was controlling?
I wouldn't say he was controlling. I would definitely say manipulative.
Hmm. To
And
get you
so
to
uh-huh.
respond the way he wanted you to?
Yes, ma'am. And
Hmm.
then growing up into that, that's growing up 17 with someone 10 years my senior and in relationship. So I'm growing, maturing at a young age and figuring out this whole marriage thing, right? And this relationship thing. And realizing that I'm not being manipulated.
Hmm.
And so folk would say a form of abuse is physical, a form of abuse is verbal, right? However, there's another form of abuse, which is manipulation,
Manipulation, which works with your mental. And
which
when you
works with your mental.
right, and it's hard. People don't understand. Bruises they go away, but when you've been mentally abused, that takes a lot of overcoming. That's a trauma that you really have to be willing to dig into. You really have to be able to confront it in order to change it.
Jesus.
Was it hard for you to do?
It's amazing when you say, was it hard for me to do? It wasn't hard once I realized that this wasn't me. This
Mhm.
wasn't the life that the Lord ordained for me. I think about the moment in which I struggled for 5 years. 5 years, or should I go? Should I stay? And I said, once I make this decision, I don't want to trickle back. I don't want to come back. I want to make sure that I'm gone and I'm staying. So it took me 5 years to come to an understanding that when I leave, I'm done and I can't come back. I won't come back. So, goodness gracious, here we are. We're in this marriage. Now I've figured myself out. And at that point, it was like maybe 5 years into the relationship. I remember the one day that I said to him, I said, listen, I'm ready to get married. And he said, I don't think so. And I said, you don't think so? What do you mean by that? And he says, no, I don't think so. And I said, okay, great. I say, here's the thing. And I remember I had some balls in me from somewhere, somehow, growing up at a young age. I was this little feisty little thing. And I said, listen, there's a deadline here. Said if we don't get married, and this was right around September, my daughter's birthday, which is September 25th. I wanted to marry along my daughter's birthday. I said, if we don't get married on our daughter's birthday, you can forget about marrying me and you can forget about the relationship because I'm going to move on. No more benefits here. No more benefits in which we are going to be in this relationship with no commitment.
Okay.
Now, I remember now at the moment, the 25th of September comes up. We've just come back from Georgia, a trip, a family trip. And I said to him, I said, hey, listen, are we going to get married? And I remember standing inside of the closet. And he said again, no, we're not. Then my mind was made up. It's time for me to move on. And I remember, this is key here. This is key. I remember marrying a man that I did not love. I
Wow.
remember marrying a man because he wanted to, not because I wanted to. He kept asking And I finally gave in and said, yes, I'll marry you. En route to the courthouse, on the date that we married, I was upset. The date that we married, I was walking literally about 25 feet behind him. And I'm thinking to myself, this is not going to last.
Okay, slow down. Back up.
Come
You
on.
said that you told him that he had to get married by your daughter's birthday, and he said no. So you went from him saying no to him begging you to get married because you had
Yes,
made up your
ma'am.
mind. Okay. Why? Because when he said no, you had said, okay, I'm done. I don't have to get married again. I mean, get married.
Listen, I given him a deadline date, right?
Mm-hmm.
25th of September.
Mm-hmm.
We revisited it 27th, the 25th of September. 25th of the 25th date of September, he said no. And at that point, my mind was made up.
Made up that you wasn't gonna marry him.
Made up I wasn't going to marry him, made up trying to figure out a way out.
Okay. But in the end, you end up marrying him, although.
I ended up marrying him at the end. And then we talk about relationships not lasting. I
Mm-hmm.
truly believe that we end up going into marriages that are not ordained.
Yeah, not only that, we set ourselves up. We push past the warning sign. We push past that button that God has revealed to us or showed to us because you already
Listen,
knew. Then you said you asked him to marry him. He said no. God had already probably placed it in you. You might have not know it was God that placed it in you that the answer was no. So make it stay no. But then you turn around and say yes. So sometimes we set ourselves up. But I'm saying I want to go back. You have two kids.
I do. I have two amazing children. I would say that. If anyone asks me, it's always they are amazing. I talk about them briefly, and I wanted to try to keep them as in the background as possible. But briefly in my book, I talk about my two amazing children. How
Okay.
amazing, how strong, how smart, how intelligent, how good looking my children are. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
then we
gotta be
go,
cute. The mama cute, so I'm sure if they look anything like you, they're cute.
listen, let me tell you, they get it's a combination of the both, the mother
Mm.
and the father, right?
Okay.
So I must give some props to my ex-husband. But we talk about my two amazing children. And a lot of folk don't get the opportunity to see me uh 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 oh man, come on
Motherhood.
now. A lot of people don't get the opportunity to see me literally announce my children. And let me share with you why, Angela, because we're here, we're being true to who we are, right?
Amen. All right.
And the reason folk don't see me speaking about my children is because I feel that I'm not worthy enough to speak
Really?
on my kids. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And let me tell you why I say that.
Yes. Tell
It
me.
comes from a healed place. It comes from a place of I have accepted, but yet and still there's expectations. When that may happen, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave that up to the Lord Jesus Christ Himself. I think about the moment in which I went through when I tell you about the traumatic divorce. It was a traumatic divorce, a custody battle for my children. I
Oh, really?
literally had to fight for my children. I say to folk all the time, my children were literally stolen from me.
Okay. So you didn't. Your kids. You lost them in the custody battle.
Well, here is the thing, Angela. I didn't lose my children in the custody battle. We had joint custody of my kids,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So the custody battle was for the both of us. However, at the beginning of this conversation, I said manipulation.
Yes.
So if I was easily manipulated, what do you think children, the minds of a child that's growing up? And so we think about when I met my ex-husband, I was 17 years old, still in a growing mind,
Right.
still trying to figure my way through. And my
Right.
kids were at a tender age of 14 and 9 years old
When you divorced, your kids was 14 and 9.
when we went through the divorce.
Okay.
And so if I was manipulated, he was a master at that. And
So
what do you
what I'm
think that
hearing,
you'll
even though
need?
you don't want to talk about it because you want to guard them, and which I so understand that as a mother, but you feel like they was manipulated to turn, maybe for lack of better words, against you, or maybe not against you, but believe more so on his side, lean more on his side.
Oh, but of course, here's the thing. You have a young girl, 17 years old, a man that's 10 years her senior, a man that says, "Listen, I brought this young lady here and I can mold her to how I want her to be." And in
Mm-hmm.
his mind, he thought I would be there forever.
Mm-hmm.
He thought I would be. How dare you decide that you don't want to be with me? I'm the only one that decides that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially with the manipulator and the narcissist,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I made the decision to leave, the only thing that he could keep, the only thing that at that point in time that he felt would hurt me was to use my children.
Children. Yeah.
Oh
That
my gosh,
happens
I
so
could go
often.
through the story of it all of what took place, right?
Yeah.
When I made the decision that I no longer wanted to be with my ex-husband, it took me, I would say, about 2 years. We went through a 2 year divorce,
Mm-hmm.
a 2 year divorce. However, I moved out. He didn't know I moved out. I had already planned my move. I had my apartment. I was slowly pulling my children's things and my things into our own apartment. And to one day he came and I was completely gone. We
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there, right? I was intentional about this thing. I planned this thing. 5 years, keep in mind,
Mm-hmm.
5 years it took me to leave. And
Mm-hmm.
5 years, I wanted to make sure when I left, I wasn't coming back.
Mm-hmm.
When he realized that, he said, "Okay, do like you left with the children? Are you guys coming back?" And I said, "Absolutely not."
Mm-hmm.
There was no abuse. There was no physical abuse. And now I want to also say this, because a lot of people would say to me, "Letitia, it makes no sense. He was a great father, a great provider, a great husband in that case, me not knowing he was manipulating me, right? This is what I thought. However, I knew that this wasn't for me. This wasn't the marriage that I wanted to be in. That's why it took me 5 years to figure it out.
Is it because you didn't love him? Is that what you feel like, because you say the word manipulation. So is it because you didn't love him that you feel like the things that he was asking of you or causing you to lose yourself, that you felt like he was controlling your life in a sense?
Angela, I surely didn't love him. I didn't know anything about love. I was
Mm-hmm.
learning love along the way. I was a woman, a young woman who didn't understand because the word love wasn't in me, right? And I say in me when I say that. I didn't grow up with someone saying, "I
I
love you"
love
when
you.
you walk out of the house.
Yeah, I love
I
you.
love you just because.
I
Not
love
that my mom didn't love me. She
you. Mm-hmm.
did. She just didn't know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so for me, it was hard for me. So to say the words "I love you," it was already hard for me to speak at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't express my emotions properly, healthy
Mm-hmm.
at
Mm-hmm.
all. And I remember when you say that, I remember him teaching me how to say "I love you."
Okay.
I learned that from my ex-husband.
Okay. Okay.
I
I,
learned that from my ex-husband.
I understand that too, as far as not knowing how to say I love you. We had a balance in our house. My father would say I love you. My mom, on the other hand, didn't come from a family that said I love you or expressed their emotion. But there was no doubt that she loved us. She cooked for us,
Yeah.
she cleaned for us, she catered to us. When we were sick, she was there for us. She did everything and then some for us. And she showed us how she loved us, how she took care of us.
Yes.
But it was in my daddy's passing that she got to the point where she felt like she had to take up where my daddy left off. Now you can't get her to not say I love you. She say I love you 113,000 times a day. You talk to her 13 times a day, she gonna tell you I love you. So I get that you didn't come from love, so you didn't necessarily know what love looked like. But earlier you also said that you didn't have a voice. But I sound like I hear your voice being developed in this marriage. So when did you see like you came into who you came into your own somewhere in this marriage.
Can I do one thing? Can I cut on my other light so I
Sure,
can bring
sure,
some light to this?
sure. Go right ahead.
Excuse me to your audience, but I want to make sure that the people can see me.
While we're doing that, we're going to go into commercial. So you guys hold on, and we're going to go right into commercial. So this is an event space by Hilton Event Space. They are able to hold approximately 50 people. You can do birthdays, seminars, wedding, business, pop-up shops, fundraisers. You can work out, you can do a workshop, you can also do engagement, home buying, art display, dancing, anniversary, or more. Again, it holds up to 50 people. This is Hampton Event Suite. It also has a refrigerator and a small kitchen. It is very new, fairly new, clean, and you guys, it also have Wi-Fi. So if you're looking for a space where you can hold an event, try Hampton Event Suite. You won't be disappointed. I will leave the contact information below after this, and you should contact Sandy Simmons if you're looking to have an event anytime soon. Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. Making sure you get your ticket for the next event. Catch your second win. That's right. Catch your second win. You do not want to miss this. This is going to be the event of the year. See you at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. We have a guest speaker, Joan Wrightgood, a coach, a mentor, an entrepreneur. You want to meet her, as well as the awesome Apostle Sheila O'Brien. She's going to help you renew your mind. And we have one of the most powerful intercessor, Mary Lewis. Come out, you guys. You do not want to miss it. Again, we're going to be at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. Can't wait to see you. Remember, in everything you do, always, always be true to you. Okay, you guys, I hope you guys are ready. Next week, the 17th at 7 p.m. on To Be True to You Talk Show, we're going to have the world-renowned, the one and only Apostle Regina Archek. That's right, Apostle Regina Archek is going to be here, and we're going to talk about it, you guys. We're going to talk about her being in church, her being in the politics. We're going to talk about marriage, you name it. There is absolutely nothing that's not going to be on the table. I'm so excited for this woman of God coming to this platform. And one thing I can say about Apostle Regina Martin, when I call her, she answers. I don't know how I build that rapport with her, but I am so grateful that she's going to grace this platform on Be True to You Talk Show next Monday at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss it. I didn't say you guys don't want to miss it. I say you don't want to miss it. Okay, so make sure you guys stay tuned. I'm super, super excited, you guys. I'm excited for all that God is doing for Be True to You. As we get, I guess, oh, she's back. But anyway, I'm super excited for all that God is doing for Be True to You, a talk show. Again, thank you to my host, for my guests, for being here as my host, my husband in the background. You guys just give him some hearts for all that he do. I could not do this without him. So I'm so thankful for my husband, Woody Warren, and I'm thankful for you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys are continuing to share, comment, and like. So
Jesus.
we're back.
We're back.
Okay, you good?
Yes.
Okay.
So listen, I'm excited about this question that you asked. It's still a pin there. It's a
Let's
pin there.
go.
You asked me the question. I'm gonna. You said, listen. It sounds like
Found your voice.
found your voice, and how did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Through my divorce. Through my divorce, I truly believe that there was a purpose ordained through my divorce. Through that divorce is where and how I got here today.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I've lost, there was a sacrifice, and the sacrifice was my children in order to gain so much more. I say to folk, it's like Job, you lose a whole lot, to
Mm-hmm.
gain abundance. And later it'll make sense. I remember going through my divorce. I was heading off to court and I had to come from Fort Lauderdale, drive from Fort Lauderdale. And in the midst of me driving from Fort Lauderdale, I remember the judge, at least I thought he said this: if you're late for this court date, if you're late for this court date, we can put you in jail. That's what I thought I heard, right?
Uh-huh.
And in the midst, I left my job. I was working in Fort Lauderdale, and I had to go to the West Palm Beach because we lived in Boca Raton in the Palm Beach County at that time. And where we divorced is where we had to wreck and dissolve our divorce, Palm Beach County. However, I remember driving from Fort Lauderdale, and in the midst, I was literally from Fort Lauderdale to, I would say, almost an hour away. I left my office at, I would say, about 4:30, and I had to be to court by 5. I was speeding in the HOV lane trying to get there. I got pulled over by the police. I'm crying, bawling. The only thing I remember that the judge said to me, which he did not say this to me. However, he said, if you're late, I can incarcerate you. And I remember when the officer, the state trooper, pulled me over, I instantly was bawling. I was crying. My eyes were red, bloodshot. And he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I'm trying to make it to the courthouse. I have a custody hearing. I'm going through a divorce and I'm running late. I'm literally an hour, almost an hour away, and I have to be there before 5." My lawyer was there waiting for me. And he said, "Well, you're going to get a ticket." I got a ticket for speeding. Angela, the people that are listening, I remember so clearly the Lord telling me clearly, keep going, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
After waiting, crying, eyes red, I probably had snot rolling from my nose and everywhere else. I remember the time. It's now, I think it was like 4:45 or something. I'll never forget it. It was about 4:45. And in my mind, I said, "Lord, I am going to keep going." God was saying to me, literally, keep going, keep going. And at that moment, I'm looking at the time. I'm saying, I'm not going to make it. Had I missed that court date, I would have been in trouble. I get there. I parked. Listen, I'm telling you, I was literally 30 minutes away from the courthouse in Palm Beach. I'm driving. I literally parked probably around 4:55. I don't even know how I parked the car. I jumped out of the car. I was running. My lawyer was waiting right there at the gate. He's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, I just got pulled over by the police. I'm going to jail today." And he said to me, he said, why do you think you're going to jail?" I said, "I'm late for court. I got a ticket. When we get there, I got to tell the judge that I got a ticket." He says, "What are you talking about? There's no ticket." We get in. I'm still not thinking clearly. I said to the judge, I gave myself up. I said, "Listen, I just left from work. I got pulled over by the police. I remember you telling me that if I get a ticket, if I get pulled over, I'm going to go to jail." And he said, "Miss Moore, I don't know what you're talking about.
Where'd you get that from?
I don't, going through so much, it was so much in my mind. However, I don't know where I got that from. In my mind, I was thinking about my children. And I guess at that time, I could have correlated that to the loss of my kids
Right.
in that moment. That if I don't show up, I would lose my kids. Not only lose my kids, I would go to jail if I
Wow.
don't make it here in time. But the thing that sustains me through it all is the voice of the Lord saying, "Keep going.
Keep
Don't
going.
look back.
Keep going.
Don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. Don't give up." And I remember, I talk about this in Birthing My Greatness, is being excited about what was on the other side of what was going on. being on the other side of this custody battle. I was excited about wanting to know the purpose of God over my life at that point. Why did I say that? There's no way that God would take two children from a mother that everywhere she went, the kids were there without there being an ordained purpose over my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to remember to keep going, don't look back. Be strategic about your storm, take it slow. I remember literally almost having a nervous breakdown.
This is why it is so important to have people in your corner, because the enemy does plant seeds and make us think something that's totally not so. And so, in the midst of you rushing, in the midst of you feeling like you're going to go to jail, like you say, you don't know where you got it from, but it's the enemy that wants you to give up. It's the enemy that wants us to throw in the towel. It's the enemy, even sometimes it's within us, that want us to feel like there is absolutely no hope. But here's the thing, to God be the glory. Right in the midst of you feeling like you had no hope, he spoke to you and told you to keep going.
Keep going.
So that let you know that there was a purpose. That let you know at the end, the Bible say everything work out for our good. So I'm glad you didn't go to jail in that. But
Where did I get that from? I don't know. You said something that was intricate here, that is tangible, is when you're going through something traumatic in your life, it's important to have someone that literally is there no matter what. They're not there to get the information, they're not there to take that information and take it someplace else. Going through that divorce, everyone who I thought would have been there, they actually talked about it.
yeah, you I was going to ask you about that, because I think what I've learned, when we go through, we do find out who's really for us. We find that out, and it hurts. And sometimes it's the people that you least expect to stand there with you, stand in the paint with you. I was going to ask, in the midst of the custody battle, and you
Mm,
feeling like, I'm not going to say you lost your kids or your kids were
no, I
taken.
lost my children.
Okay, so I didn't.
For now, for
Okay,
now.
so if you lost your children for at that point, did people feel like you was a horrible mother? Were you being judged because you lost your children in the custody battle?
I don't think folk thought that I was a horrible mom or I neglected my children. They knew. They knew me. They knew me and my parenting skills. It was me that thought I was a horrible mother.
And this is why you say you feel like you're not worthy to be their mother?
Right now, yes. You see when you go through something so traumatic, right? And because it's been 16 years of me not knowing them, we're being true here.
Yeah.
16 years of birth, I birthed two children and me not know them at all.
So let's just slow down on here. So
Come
you
on.
birth the kids, you go to custody. How did the custody battle turn out?
So I'll share. This is something when folk can when we allow the courts to dictate. This is why I say it's important to marry someone who has the same core values, the same morale
Yeah,
as you do,
morals. Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, it can literally be at the detriment of your family, of your children.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, the children are the ones that suffer. And
Right.
so I say that is when you have two well-rounded, educated, smart, intelligent people, but they get entangled with their emotions. And then at the collateral damage of it all, the children are at sacrifice. They're collateral good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I deem my children at that time were. They were collateral good. That is what she loved the most. She don't love me. I'm gonna use this to control her.
Mm-hmm.
And so ugh, what happened there is we're going through the divorce because the kids were in school in Palm Beach County. The courts deemed, and I moved to Broward County. They considered this whole thing of traveling an hour, 2 hours, and they put it all together and they say, listen, The kids are on the road 2 hours of the day. No child should be in traffic. 2 hours. This is literally my experience.
Really?
No kid should be in traffic driving 2 hours of the day when they're literally right around the corner from their home. You follow me
Wow.
now? I'm a,
Uh-huh.
you understand? So
Mm-hmm.
here in that sense, after the custody battle, the marriage was dissolved, and the custody battle was now, or we're now ready to have joint custody over the children, because the schools were in Palm Beach County and I was in Broward County. The kids were in the home in Palm Beach County
Mm-hmm.
4 hours more than they would have been in the home with me. Does
If
that make sense?
no,
So
four
the kid
4 hours extra in the home made a difference.
made a huge difference.
Wow.
And in that term, I had to pay child support because the children were in the home 4 hours more than they were in my home, because
Wow.
uh they were stationed in school in the Palm Beach County.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I had to pay child support. He didn't need it. He wanted it. He wanted everything that would tear me down and make me come back running, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I had to pay child support. He had the kids 4 hours more than me. So that was deemed their primary home.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so, with that being said, we got to consider too. Come on, man. Come on. Listen, we have to consider here that prior to the custody battle closing itself out, there was 1 year that I did not get a chance to see my children at all, that I could only talk to them over the phone.
A whole
Then there,
a
it
whole entire year
1 whole year.
that you couldn't see your kids.
Couldn't see them, could only talk to them. And around that time, I remember it was around the holiday, October, when the whole thing took place. So at that point, I had to go Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of the holidays in which the children were accustomed to being with my family, because we celebrated those holidays. His family didn't. So they were primarily with my family, not his family, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That the children now were displaced from that. Can you imagine the trauma my kids experienced? So when I say in my book, amazing, strong, courageous, beautiful, absolutely amazing children, to have to endure such trauma at the expense of their parent
Mm-hmm.
because they could not get it right,
Mm-hmm.
and not think about the life in which it would affect the children. We are already adult people that's already traumatized and going through trauma, right? Why would we want to do that to our children? And so here is what we have. We have a parent that, this is me. They're solid there. I didn't want to disturb that.
I got
And
you.
you understand where I'm
Mm-hmm.
going?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my mom would say to me, she said, "Why won't you say anything bad about him?" I'm not going to do that. The Lord is going to handle that for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to wish resentment. I'm not going to be resentment. There's not going to be any resentment. There's not going to be any retaliation. Why? This all affects my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I was excited about what the Lord had for me on the other side.
You was able to see that. You was able to see that in the midst of that, that there had to be some greatness coming out of that.
Listen, Angela, I was a woman that I didn't go to church. My cousin is here. She was my support system. She talked for me when I couldn't talk for myself in the courtroom. I'll make a joke of this. The judge told me, he'd say, "Listen, you might want to keep Miss Bass home because she's not working for you, right?
Uh,
She's only making this worse for you." And I would look up at her because I was in a trauma state.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember standing next to her, she's standing next to me, and I'm looking like, help me. I'm not concerned about what he's saying. She knew what I was going through. And I looked up at her when he said that, and I said, help me. To myself, I said that,
Mm-hmm. But not out loud.
not out loud.
Uh-huh.
And I tell you right now, today, she has been the person. And I say to her, you owe me nothing. I owe you everything.
Yeah. I love
Listen,
I love Stephanie. I know her from afar. I can't remember if I met her from All Dolled Up or the flea market, but I love her personality and she's a good person. I see her from afar. And from the far what I see, she looked like she really has your back. And that is something that we all need.
listen, let me tell you, if you haven't met, we all say loyalty don't exist anymore. I have two people in my life that I can count on. Sometimes I forget Candy Stephanie is my cousin.
She feel
I
like your
sometimes
sister.
forget she's more like a friend to me.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
have my best friend and Stephanie that I can count on. I remember, I'm going to share this piece with you, Angela, and your audience. I remember when it was time for my children, when my kids were taken from me, they didn't have anything. My son only had the backpack that I packed with his clothes and two pair of shoes. I had taken out his school books and everything and put his clothes in his book bag. And because I was a parent that always over prepared, I said to Lenny, I said, look, I called my baby's name. I said to him, I said, I'm going to put two pair of sneakers in your bag and I'm going to put four outfits in your bag. And he was there, he was going with his dad for the weekend. And I said, just in case you need them. However, he needed those four things.
You thought he was coming back. You didn't know
I
that was
thought he
going.
was coming back.
Wow.
He didn't
Wow.
come back.
And
And
so
so mhm.
go ahead.
The reason I brought that up is because at the moment that the judge said, "Hey, listen, what mutual person can you guys use that would allow us to be able to get the children's clothes, their books, their school books?" And I remember saying to the judge, I said, listen, Lenny, my baby don't have his school. He don't have his books. He need his books. In order to study, he need his books. That's the only thing that I could remember at that time. He need his books. He need his stuff. He needs his uniforms. And he said, okay, who can we have as a mutual body to get the kids things and y'all meet up and you exchange them with your ex-husband? And he called out Candy. Out of everyone, he said her,
Wow.
right?
And she's been there ever since.
She's been there ever since. Now here is the irony of it all. When she gets there, they exchange numbers through the court, through the legally, and Candy, he called Candy, or Candy called him. And she said, listen, how can we meet up? What's a good day? Tisha has all of their things. Where do you want to meet to pick up the kids' things? And he said to her, he started talking about the divorce and everything. And I remember Stephanie saying to me, I told him, listen, that's not what we're meeting up for. We're talking about the kids' things. Where do you want to meet so that we can pick up the kids? You can get the kids school books and things like that. And he wanted to continue to talk about what was taking place, our situation. And she said, that's not what we're here for. If that's what you're going to do, we're not going to do this. And at that point, he went to the court and he said, I don't want her anymore. I don't, we're not going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
To the fact that I had to take things to the police station in
Wow.
order for the children to get their things. So they went another week without their things, right?
Mm-hmm.
My point of bringing this up to your listeners, you have to, when you're going through the storm, you have to get someone that is not only there to get the information, but help you across.
Help
Someone
you
is going to
across it.
stand solid for you.
Yes, help you process it, help you deal with it, help you understand it. It is so often I tell people all the time, I don't care who you are, we all need somebody. And
Someone.
so I'm going to wrap it up because we're running here, going to get ready to for our closing. But what I want to know is, 16 years later, how's everything standing with you and your kids?
You see this big old smile.
Yeah.
Listen, I remember growing up not loving my smile, not loving my lips, not loving anything about myself. When I look at Letitia, I look at all of the great attributes in which people are paying for. When I tell you the Lord has literally, I was intentional about my purpose. That everything that I did not like and everything that folk bullied me on, guess what? Those are all my great attributes.
Hmm. I felt that way too. I remember, we're dark skinned, so we was not light because we was dark skinned. We was not light because we had nappy hair or sent a bigger nose or bigger lips, and we had to learn to love ourselves. And I think that's the crisis in us that calls us to love ourselves and to know that people are paying to look like us,
Yes, Lord.
paying
Come
like
on.
to look like us. So we had to love ourselves. So I'm
I'm
glad
going to tell
everything.
you,
Go
this
ahead.
took 16 years. I would say about 10 years of work. That self reinventment, self evaluation, and I'm constantly evaluating myself every single day of how I can be a better tool for people.
Yeah, because it's not about self anymore, and I
It's
know
not
that.
about self.
Everything you go through is for a reason. So, if you had to talk to someone who was going to a divorce and having a custody battle, what would be one thing you would tell them to do to get through?
Endure the process. There's a purpose.
Mhm.
There's a purpose in the midst of the storm. Be very strategic and intentional about your storm. I use the storm as a quick as an analogy of quicksand. We all think that going through once we hit quicksand, we're automatically going down. However, quicksand is not an automatic thing. It's just a test, a walk through the storm, and you have to be intentional about it. We may sink every now and again when we get to certain points, right? But if we're strategic about our moves, being slow and intentional about the move, we're going to come up on top. You're not going to sink. But if you think too fast, you move too fast. And that means if we're so quick to want to get back, we want to be so quick to defend ourselves when we only have one person that should defend us. Our only job is to keep working, keep looking forward. Don't look back, and it's being intentional about your storm, enduring the process.
So you would tell them to endure, to be intentional,
Endure,
don't give
endure.
up. So do
Because
you?
on the other side, I talk about this in Birthing My Greatness. On the other side of the storm is where greatness lies.
That's
There's
good.
purpose there, and that's
Okay.
purpose on your life.
Do you have intentions on getting? Would you like to be remarried?
I was excited about being remarried the moment that I was getting a divorce.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Listen, let me tell you something. Going through my divorce, it didn't damage me. It was that thing that Tasha Cobb talks about, gracefully broken. I was broken just enough so that the Lord can utilize me for something bigger and something greater.
awesome. I know that you have a, I want to just get into that you have a magazine coming. Congratulations on your birthing of your magazine. Tell us about it.
Oh my gosh, come on. It's Greatness Magazine. What more can I say? It's about bringing that old field of magazine back. It's about talking about the things that keeps people from living a life full of purpose. It's about inspiring, inspirational, motivational, being the bridge to help someone else across. I talk about this on my platform, and it's literally when I tell you I am about greatness, and that this magazine will truly be founded on its greatness. It will be a place that people can go to that would actually connect folk in a true way, an authentic way, and a genuine way.
I love the cover. It's awesome. Awesome.
Isn't it
Yeah.
amazing?
It
All of
really
that
is.
is about the storm. All
Yeah.
of that is being intentional. That's
Mhm.
about enduring the process.
Well, can I tell you also, you before we go on, you're a life coach, right?
Oh, yes, purpose coach.
Tell us about it.
Oh my gosh, I'm super excited about it.
How can they get like connect with you as far as you've been a life coach? How can they reach out to you as far as that?
Listen, when you've gone through a life and you've actually had to fight for your children and fight for your sanity, right? Rebuild a new you. There's purpose there. There's purpose there. So we can all talk about life coach. I talk about purpose,
So as far as
finding purpose.
your niche is purpose.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And you can find me on icoachgreatness.com. That's my website. And on that website, you will find so many amazing things that's there. You can also connect with me at info@icoachgreatness.com. I'm super excited about that. You can also find me on my social media handles, Instagram, I am Letitia Rivers, and Letitia Rivers on Facebook as well.
Well, Letitia, I want to tell you, I want you to thank you. Thank you for sharing your story as far as your traumatic divorce, baby, because you said that a couple of times. So I know you had to go through something to come out. You came out smelling like roses. I understand that you had to give up in order to gain. And in those process of that year or the separation that you had with your children, I know God is going to do a great thing. I think I'm thankful before, even if I don't know the relationship that you're building, the relationship that's going to grow with them. And I just want you to continue to do what you're doing. As I watch you, I'm proud of you. I remember you coming into the shop buying Be True to You t-shirts, and you love Be True to You t-shirts. So I want to tell you, thank you for that.
Yes, yes. Before we go, I know we're getting down. I just want to share with your audience. You remember the moment that I met you. I don't know if you remember this. And you did my hair at this point. And when you met me, we were talking briefly, not much. And you said to me, you said, listen, you're going to be preaching the gospel. There is something great on you. And I'm excited about seeing that. When I tell you, you literally prophesied over me. And the things that I'm living now, the place that I am now is strictly mere from manifestation. And it is about the process in which I took with such care, with
Yeah.
such care when the Lord was taking me through my transition. And so I think about you when you spoke that word over me. Who would have ever thought that I would be here today?
That's been what, over 8 years?
That's been longer than that.
Longer than that. Wow.
Longer than that.
And that's what it is. It's process. Sometimes we think when we get a word from God that it's instant, but it takes a process. It takes us enduring. It takes us being willing to be molded and reshaped. It takes us to start thinking different. And so as I hear you go through your journey and find your voice, the voice is strong, sis. The
Oh,
voice
yeah.
is strong. Okay. And just keep walking in that strength, keep walking in your confidence. And hey, anytime you need me, know that I'm here. And I want to thank you for being a part of the Be True to You talk show. If you have any final remarks you'd like to leave with the audience, please do so at this time.
I really truly appreciate you guys for tuning in on the I Be True to You talk show. I I'm excited about the journey that the Lord has over my life. I am excited about life. I am excited about my testimony, my storm. I am excited still about love and marriage. I am excited about what the Lord and how He's going to reconnect my children and myself. I'm super excited. But in the midst of it all, I must continue to keep working. And the one thing that I want to say to your audience of people, Miss Angela, is you are what you breathe. You
Yeah.
are what you breathe.
Thank you. Thank you again for being a part of the show. Thank you for sharing your testimony. I'm sure we need to have you on again to get the second part of the testimony as far as
Come
where
on.
God is taking you in the relationship, because now we're all invested. Like, how did it turn out with the children? So, with the grown ups. So, we're going to be staying tuned for that. Anytime you want to come back and share, waiting to be a part of the growth And we're excited about your new magazine. Can't wait to put a piece in my hand and read it. And again, continue doing what you're doing. Hey, so with that being said, thank you again. You guys, I want to thank you guys for participating. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. Thank you for staying with us every Monday at 7 p.m. with Doing Life with Angela, Be True to Your Talk Show. On Doing Life with Angela page, the Be True to Your Talk Show. We're greatly appreciate you. Remember, this is October, breast cancer awareness. Go be checked. Go get exam. Exercise, cut down on the liquor. And if you're a mother breastfeeding, they say breastfeeding can cut down your risk of breast cancer. Exercising can cut down the risk of breast cancer. Lack of alcohol can cut down the risk of breast cancer. Early detection can save lives. So make sure you go and be examined. So again, thank you guys for being a part of Be Truly Talk Show. Make sure you're here next week with Regina Martin. Our check. I'm so excited about this. Y'all can tell I'm really excited. I think it's going to be something great. Make sure you get your ticket to the Be True to You Talk Show event. Catch Your Second Win, which is December 3rd, 10 to 2. You do not want to miss it. We're going to have a hot lunch. We're going to have door prizes. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have awesome speaker. We got Joan Wright Good, Apostle Sheila O'Brien. We have the intercessor Mary Louise Jones. We also going to add Apostle Clive O'Brien to be a part of the segment. Y'all don't want to miss this. So not because it's my event, but because I know it's going to be a powerful event. I want to thank you all again. I can't thank you guys enough. I really can't thank you guys enough. Please continue to like Doing Life with Angela. Don't just like our page. Do me a favor and share the page. Follow the page, like it, share it, and follow it. I can't do this without you. And I know there's going to be so many more testimonies and stories to be told that's going to make a difference, shake your foundation, and help you reach your greater. With that being said, remember, in everything you do, always be true to you. I love you and I mean it. Bye.
Hey, what's up, world? It's me, your girl, Angela. Making sure you get your ticket for the next event. Catch Your Second Win. That's right. Catch Your Second Win. You do not want to miss this. This is going to be the event of the year. See you at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. We have a guest speaker, Joan Wright Good, a coach, a mentor, an entrepreneur. You want to meet her, as well as the awesome Apostle Sheila O'Brien. She's going to help you renew your mind. And we have one of the most powerful intercessor, Mary Louise. Come out, you guys. You do not want to miss it. Again, we're going to be at True by Hilton in Fort Lauderdale. Can't wait to see you. Remember, in everything you do, always be true to you.
It's not about being perfect. It's about being authentic. It's about being okay with the good, bad, and ugly. To accept those things about ourselves that we can't change, and those things that need to be changed, we put on our big girl panties and do the work. Be true to you is about being real with God, being real with self, so we can be true to you. Be true to you is not about competing with one another. We're about complimenting one another.
True to you.
Welcome to the Be True to You Talk Show.